You know what's wild? Depression as we understand it probably didn't exist for most of human history. And before you dismiss that as some romanticized, simpler times nonsense, hear me out. The ancient human brain wasn't wired differently. They could feel sadness, they could grieve, they could experience loss. But clinical depression, that specific form of mental anguish where nothing feels worth doing, where motivation evaporates, where time becomes a prison, that appears to be something we invented along with civilization. This is going to sound counterintuitive. Ancient humans faced objectively worse circumstances than we do. Starvation was a real possibility. Injury could mean death. Predators existed. Winters killed people. And yet, the archaeological record, the anthropological evidence, the skeletal remains, and burial practices all suggest something surprising. They weren't plagued by the kind of persistent mental illness that defines modern life. So, what changed? Let's start with something obvious. Ancient humans had constant social connection, not the hollow kind where you're scrolling past acquaintances on a screen. Real, unavoidable, physical proximity to other humans. You lived with your tribe, you worked with them, you ate with them, you slept near them. Multiple studies show that social isolation is one of the strongest predictors of depression. We've created a world where you can feel completely alone while surrounded by millions. Ancient humans couldn't do that. They were forced into community whether they liked it or not. And as it turns out, that forced community was an antidepressant they didn't need to name because it was always working. But there's more. Ancient humans had something we've systematically dismantled: meaningful work with visible results. When you hunt and kill an animal, you have fed your family. The work has an outcome you can see. You planted seeds, you tended them, you harvested them, you ate them. The connection between effort and survival was direct and unmistakable. Now consider your work. You might spend 8 hours doing something whose ultimate purpose you don't fully understand, contributing to a system so large and abstracted that your individual impact is invisible. You produce something and it goes into a machine that produces something else, and that gets sold to people you'll never meet, and the money is abstract numbers on a screen. The meaning is gone. And studies consistently show that meaninglessness is a foundation that depression is built on. Ancient humans also had something called purpose clarity. They knew why they were alive. They were alive to keep the tribe alive. Every person had a role. Every role mattered. The hunter mattered. The toolmaker mattered. The person who maintained the fire mattered. Everyone contributed something essential. Try to explain what you contribute to anyone beyond your immediate workplace. The answer is usually vague, and when your purpose is vague, depression moves in. Here's another factor most people miss. Ancient humans were tired in a specific way. They were physically exhausted, muscles hurt, joints ached, but their minds were often engaged in the present moment. They were hunting, watching, moving, problem solving in real time. This is crucial. Depression thrives in idle time, not rest, idle time. The difference is that rest is chosen and restorative. Idle time is empty and available for your brain to consume itself with worry. Ancient humans didn't have idle time. They were always doing something necessary. But maybe the biggest factor is this: ancient humans had acceptable sadness. We've created a world where sadness is treated as a malfunction. You're sad? That's wrong. Take a pill, see a therapist, optimize yourself, fix it, get back to productivity. We've pathologized an emotion that humans have felt since humans existed. Ancient humans got sad. Someone died. They grieved. The grief was real and terrible and legitimate, and the entire community acknowledged it and held space for it. Then they had to hunt again. The sadness didn't go away, but it was contained. It was normal. It was human. Modern depression isn't just sadness, it's sadness combined with the belief that sadness is wrong, which creates shame, which intensifies the sadness. It's sadness without community to hold it. It's sadness without meaningful work to provide distraction and purpose. It's sadness in a system that treats it as a personal failure rather than a human experience. We live longer than ancient humans. We live safer than ancient humans. We have medical care and food security and shelter that would seem miraculous to anyone from 10,000 years ago, and yet we're drowning in depression. Ancient humans faced constant threat and somehow managed better mental health. That tells you something important. It tells you that mental health isn't about safety or comfort or living long enough to see your grandchildren. It's about connection, purpose, meaningful labor, and the permission to feel what you actually feel without judgment. We have the first four things wrong, and we've made the fourth one impossible. So what now? You can't go back to being a hunter-gatherer, but you can notice what's missing. You can build real community instead of accepting the hollow version. You can seek work that has visible meaning. You can create rituals and roles in your own life that matter. And you can stop treating your sadness like a defect and start treating it like data. It's telling you something. Ancient humans would have listened. The fact that we've built a civilization so effective at preventing physical death but so efficient at promoting mental anguish is maybe the most important problem we're not talking about directly enough. But at least now you know where the real problem is. It's not your brain. It never was.